Good evening. May 14, 2019. Hope everybody's well. I haven't talked seriously about philosophy outside of class in a little while on Facebook or YouTube. And tonight I wanted to say something about Friedrich Wilhelm Nietzsche, German existentialist. And this one, I've been thinking about Nietzsche for a few days recently. He only made it to age 56, and he wrote all his work at the end of his life, most of the breakthrough work. And he was made chair of classical philology at Basel in Germany at the age of 24, which is unheard of. He knew the classics and the Greeks and the Romans and tragedy and all the methodologies of theater and aesthetics and beauty and the sublime. Nietzsche worked on all these things, and the important things he tells us are quips you hear, chaos brings order, where he suggests that, when chaos occurs, humans do a remarkable job of figuring it out. But Nietzsche would also say there is no truth, only versions of stories of the truth. Kierkegaard would have said this in the early 1800s as well. Schopenhauer, Nietzsche's professor, would have said it also, that outside of self, there is no real world. The world is a will to power and nothing more. That's what Nietzsche said. The world is a will to power and nothing more. Go out into the world and seek your full potential and be all you can do and be. And the reality was that Nietzsche develops a theory called the Superman, which is sort of perverted later hugely by the Nazis, but Nietzsche died in 1900. And like I said, at the age of 56, so not unlike Kierkegaard, he died in his late 30s, I've talked about. These existentialists thought about things that normal people don't think about in the normal sense, whatever normal is, but you wouldn't think about these things as you just walk through life. We should, but people's job takes so much time, and that's what Schopenhauer and Nietzsche would have argued, that your life's taken up by a 40-hour work week and then subjecting yourself to whatever the entertainment is of the day, and what you do it again the next day. And that life becomes a cycle where reflection doesn't occur and thinking isn't happening on a very high level. And personal needs, personal will gets obscured by the others in the world, but by the world itself. And one thing for sure, Nietzsche would say that if we do not recognize the shortcomings, we'll never overcome. And we are in a state of overcoming as the Overman or the Ubermensch. Ich bin Ubermensch, I am Superman. So the Overman woman, the Superman or woman, is a high level for us to achieve in a personal sense, for will to power exercised in the world to make our life happen the way we want. And that's hard to do, especially in today's life, because the system is so intense that it's hard to work outside the lines if you're young and don't know how. It takes time to learn these things. But more than anything, I was thinking about my friend down in the Daniel Boone National Forest. He's working, he's got land down there, and he's building a cabin. His name's Billy Abner. And Billy, I know you always like Nietzsche's. Billy's a good man, a minister in his own right of the Word of God, a great Christian. And Billy really appreciates Nietzsche for what he is. And we know no one's foolproof. You're not a follower of any philosopher or theory. You use the theories and put them together. And one of Nietzsche's biggest theories that I try to say something about at least a few times a year that's misquoted, even by the great Billy Graham. Nietzsche said, God is dead and we have killed him. You and I are responsible for the death of God. Because of technology and the way we behave in the marketplace, we stomp on the very ideal of humanism and God in the universe. But so many people thought Nietzsche meant that God never existed. And even though Nietzsche's acclaimed, self-proclaimed atheist, like Schopenhauer, who was a hardcore atheist, Wittgenstein wasn't even that bad. Whereas Wittgenstein would have said, there's no use to discuss mysticism, but he'd at least leave room for a God. Whereas Schopenhauer would have said, no, there is none. When you die, leaves blow over your grave, and hopefully a pretty woman comes by and throws a flower down now and then. You're kind of bleak. But out of that, for Schopenhauer, the motivation was to do it while you can in this life, while you know you're you and it's happening to you now. So when you see something in front of you you want, you use your will to power, become the superhuman, and get what you want out of life. And it's a continuous process. It's a continuous evolutionary process, Nietzsche would tell us. If we do not evolve, we will be knuckled under. And if we do not cognize the evolution day to day, we'll never be as strong as we can be, just out walking around with the other sheep, as Billy always says, sheeple. You know, with the sheep out there, or the members of the herd who deter you from self and truly knowing self eternally and internally, as self-consciousness survives death and is already divine. Soul and spirit's already divine. We will survive this life. We just don't understand the form. Nietzsche knew the will was strong, but he wasn't far enough advanced in the 1800s to come up with the whole idea of astrophysicism, if you will. What a word. You'll make up words that ain't a word. Physicism. Nietzsche would say it is a word now. And you look at it, he didn't have hard science. He was still going on like Galileo and Newton. So he had it, but he couldn't project the idea of a higher power like a God galaxies away who can tell what's going on. You know, trillions of eyes in the sky, one for each of us. The entity has many eyes, but is one. And this common spirit of human is the part we got to grasp within nature as we exist, being in the world. All the existentialists tell us. And it's the best position to strengthen yourself as you walk through, to meditate on this sort of thinking towards your own self and your needs, to bolster your abilities as you walk through. Because most people want to help you, but it's a struggle all the way through. And Nietzsche would say, rise to the occasion. Catastrophic failure will bring order. So no matter how bad it gets, if we live through it, we can go on. And that's the key to existentialism. Realizing the negativity, the darkness that can be there, and overcoming it daily in your life, and making it happen in your life, and making your future appear before your eyes as if some wonderful magic trick that continues to evolve. The beauty of being. I hope y'all have a good night. Peace, y'all. Take care.